Welcome to my Minecraft world. Finally, right? Around here is where I spawned, and I can tell because of my first workbench. Back there was the first very small cave I went into. After that, I wandered over here a ways, towards this river. And eventually, up this hill. At some point, after leaving my spawn area, I ventured much further away because I wanted to find some different biomes. At night I ended up in this cave, my first major one, really. And, as you can now tell, I didn't even finish exploring. After coming back up again during the daytime, I wandered off and through some valleys and whatnot, and over to this grassland where I had my first starter base. Right by this neat little pond. And this is it, my first starter house. Not too shabby, decent amount of storage, and it did everything I wanted it to for now. But alas, there's nothing much here anymore. Just some random scraps and whatnot. Of course, I still left all the farms here, just in case I ever ended up back this way for whatever reason. The chickens over here, netherwort, and cows too. I built a little bridge over the pond and built some more structures. Also, some sheep. This tower is where I put my retired diamond gear. And of course, this villager right here who has a mending trade. I cured him because he was a zombie, of course. At some point, of course, after this, I ended up needing to go into the nether, of course, and I ended up around here. Well, it's vastly different now, but let's just say I sort of spawned in a ravine, as you can tell here. And then I made my way down. And at some point I went up over this little ridge and noticed another fortress. And this, of course, right now is currently where my wither skeleton farm is. Although mostly complete, I do need to slab the area a little bit more. This place has worked as a good home base in the nether, so to speak, and a good launching off point. And since the 1.16 update, of course, the new biomes are way over that way. There's not much in my nether at the moment. Most of my work in the nether, of course, has been on my hub area, as you can tell. It has a beacon with speed, and there are these huge staircases and hallways, of course. They all branch off in the cardinal directions, but first we'll go north. This is where my first stronghold is, or at least a portal to it. My first stronghold was surprisingly small, and very easy to conquer, although it was sort of hard to find at first, and you'll see why. As you can tell, I did a lot of digging and it was a trouble to find. But eventually, I did end up finding it. And of course, I conquered it very easily because of its small size. This is my end. There's also not much here. It's pretty humble, but there is one small farm, which is pretty cool. I do have an area or spot to kill Endermen under this water. However, what my end is used for now, as you can see, is this Wither Rose farm right here, which uses eggs. But for now, let's go back to the overworld. As you can see, my spawn is around here usually, very close to where we started. And of course, I had to build a nether portal at 0, for easy access to the nether and my highways. Coming off of 0 is this skeleton dungeon, which was the first major XP farm I had, and this is in the west branch. For now, let's take a look at that skelly dungeon. As you may be able to tell, I obviously spent a lot of time AFKing here, and farming items, XP, etc. And not only that, this links up somewhere, because as you noticed, it's pretty close to spawn. And where does it link up? Well, it links up to my first major base. What do you know? At some point, though, I was looking for somewhere a little more ambitious. Different biomes, etc. It's mostly just been winter and taigas and hills so far. I ventured out very far. With wings and the speed much higher, of course, it looks quicker, but this is thousands of blocks away from spawn. What's this little wacky thing here? We'll take a look at that later. But for now, this is my real home. As you can tell, we are very far from spawn. A couple thousand blocks. Once again, with wings, it doesn't make it look like too much, but it is far. This is my nether portal to get into the nether here. And this is my home island. In this little nook is my sugarcane farm. Down here's my netherwart farm. And over here is my cow farm, where there was only 2 cows on this island. They were the last survivors, and let's just say, they bred, and oh boy, they're still kicking. This is my first floor of my main house. Up here is where most of my storage is, of course. And up here is basically a duplicate of the first floor, but with different items stored. And then the fourth floor is, of course, the bedroom. Let's watch a Minecraft sunset together, shall we? On normal speed, too. Alright, let's get back to it, shall we? Now, you may notice these beacons here, and this is where it leads. Underneath my house, I have a very interesting setup. It's sort of under construction at the moment. Not finished, but still all looks very cool, and has more storage for some of the newer blocks in 1.16. For now, I won't show where that other pathway goes. Over here is my enchanting area. Then over this way is my chicken farm, mostly for their eggs, of course, which supply the Wither Rose farm. Then, over here, I have a couple of villagers. Just 2 for now. Then last, connecting to this island, is my mob farm, where right now it's set up for creepers. Before, I had this area unlit and uncovered with just nothing, but I added in that structure back there just so creepers could spawn. Now, moving on to this behemoth. This bad boy is my absolute passion project. If you're a Minecraft expert, you probably already know what this is, but if you couldn't tell, it's a big guardian farm. I did something a little crazy, I must say, with this, and I even have a slideshow for you guys at the end of the video, which documents my process in making this thing, so look forward to that. But for now, let's head in. Right here is main storage for all the blocks that I mined out while making this build. As you can see, the rates aren't super high right now, but more than likely that's probably because there's already a ton of guardians down at the bottom. Here's a little sneak peek of what's down below, let's just say. But nah, let's head down there for real. And here it is, the Guardian Farm. But first let's sleep, of course. But here it is. It's nothing too crazy or complex, but let's just say it's mine. Under each of these pyramids, of course, is 4 beacons giving me all my buffs. And here is just a simple storage system that I landed on. And over this way is, well, some hollow area, which honestly is still under construction as well. It's not completely done. The inside is, of course, mostly done, but I could improve the rates on the outside by clearing out everything. Remember that tunnel earlier? Well, that's where it led. And of course, this very simple storage system just stores a bunch of the crap and a bunch of the drops off the Guardians. I've used a fair amount to build all of this, of course, so there isn't too many and it's not overflowing or anything, but a lot of the chests are filling up. And here's the Guardian farm in action. As you can see, I don't think its rates are the tip-top per se, and they're not the most efficient in the world, but they're pretty high, and of course Guardians just give you a ton of XP. As you can see, it instantly restored my wings. As you saw, I try to split the items evenly when I put them in the dispensers. And of course, I gave this build some colored beacons and a lot of detail, and I put a lot of work into it, and I made a lot of memories while making this build. Honestly, I watched a lot of PCP and whatnot in the background, so it was very enjoyable. This way is also an alternate way down. It only goes halfway though. But what I like about this build so much, and I will incorporate into my future builds, and you'll be able to tell later on as well, I like my builds to have a very wing-friendly design. That's why I tell people, never build anything too high. If you're gonna like mine, maybe, build it 3 high. That way you can at least fly in the space. Fuck 2 high, gang. Everyone is in 3 high, gang. Everyone cool, at least. Now, you might be wondering what this wacky map thing is about. Well, I'll show you. Eventually. So, you can tell we're here. Spawn was around there, and I came a very long ways, and over in that area was my first home, and we're here. But you might be wondering, why is that not the center of your map? Well, there's a reason for that, which is this map is going to be the site of my next big project, which will, of course, turn into my future home. For now, let's head back into the Nether. As you can see, I had a lot of speed potions when I didn't have wings. But for now, let's go back to the hub. As you can see, we already closed off the north pass, so let's explore the rest of the west path past 00. Here's our first instance of a conquered temple. And what I mean by that is it's just an ocean temple where I killed the Elder Guardians in it, and usually means I mined out most of the blocks in the temple as well. Over here is my alt savanna home, where basically I was out exploring and filling in my maps, and I decided to make a alternate house that's very far away, let's just say. There's not much here, but it's humble and it looks cool. And what can I say, I really like the shattered savanna biome. This base serves more as an outpost, as you can tell. It also has a very similar design to my first jungle house too, back on the island. As you can tell, I don't have much of anything in here, in all honesty, just leftover materials from the build. But like I said before, I hate to reiterate, but this is just more of an outpost kind of base. It's a launching off point, if you will. It's very high up in the air. Back into the Nether we go, to explore the rest of the West Path. Over here is more temples, none of which I've conquered. They are there. Then last but not least is what I'm calling Project V right now. And of course, you can already sort of tell what it is, but not really. You can tell what I'm going for, but let's just say, no one besides me, of course, knows what I'm doing here. This is a very special project. It honestly might take years for all I know. I'm trying to do something that has a large scale or scope, let's just say. Now, we've closed off the west path, and we've already explored the north path, and currently there's nothing in the east path, so that leaves us with the rest of the south path. Of course, my home is along the south path, but there's more. Over this way is more ocean temples, of course. And funnily enough, I got an achievement that I never got before, which was pretty funny. I did travel very far, from Project V to here. The desert base I will leave for last for reasons you'll see in the future, but for now let's go over here to just a big reef. And as the sign stated, this is just a big ol' reef. Now, heading back to the portal, I'll go to the last area, like I said before, the desert base. That, honestly, is right now my current project. Project V is temporarily on hold for reasons, and one of them being that I really want to have a bigger sugarcane farm. And that's kind of what this is going to be. This is the project I'm currently working on right now. The reason I need so much sugarcane is because I'm gonna need it for fireworks and things. And I'm already fairly set with gunpowder, but what I keep running out of is paper. And also, especially if I want to do more mapping, I'm gonna need loads more sugarcane and paper. So yeah, that's the purpose of that too. Also, this guy had a really good trade, it was kind of funny. But yeah, there's a desert temple down here that I looted, no biggie. Of course, I've mined out a lot of sand in this area too, and this is what the base of the project looks like from down below. And yeah, that's the major areas of my world right now. Of course, there are tons of little random caves and stuff, but I don't want to bore you guys. This is just the main, interesting, juicy stuff. So, I hope you enjoyed looking at my Minecraft world, and here's to another year of it. And of course, enjoy the slideshow of my Guardian farm build.